Hey guys, and welcome. Hey guys, and welcome back to the vlog. If you are new to the channel, my name is Jade. I am a cake decorator representing the Tri-Island state of beautiful Grenada, Carriacou, and Petite Martinique. And every week I like to come on and share with you a typical day in the life, being a cake decorator, stay-at-home mom, share behind the scenes footage with you. Today I'm doing things a bit different. I asked you guys on Instagram, Facebook, and here on YouTube to send me questions that you would like me to answer. He's going behind the camera. So I'm here with my little one, keeping him entertained, and I thought I would use the time to answer some of the questions. Say hello. So if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing if you're new. Hopefully I'm in the frame because my camera got damaged, so hopefully it's recording fine. This may be kind of difficult, but I'll try my best. I brought some of his toys so he can be entertained. I wrote down the questions. Initially I was going to answer a question at the end of every video, but because it was a lot of details, I decided just to put everything into one video. I may do a bad job pronouncing the names, so I'm going to give out the names of the people that send the message. If you send that particular question, you should know which one you sent. Alright? The first question I have is, do you make cupcakes ahead of time and freeze them? And does that affect the cupcake mold? So if you look at my videos, you would see that whenever I'm crumb coating cakes or decorating cupcakes, the cupcakes are already prepared, and you would notice I would be removing plastic wrap off of them. And that's because, yes, I do pre-bake my cakes. This is not something I always did. When I had more time on my hands, I would bake and decorate at the same day. But time is very limited for me now, and this is a great hack for those of you who have limited time. This is something you can do to be able to manage things better. However, you do have to research the right way to do it. When I just started freezing my cakes, I had difficulty, and over a period of time practicing, researching the right way that it has to be done, I was able to master that technique. Do you want to go by daddy? Or are you staying with mama? Huh? Okay. I forgot where I left off. No, leave the camera alone. It's already going through. Guys, he started walking. So that's his latest development. He's walking, he's opening the drawers, opening cupboards. Let me just share some tips with you if you plan to do that. I may have explained it in a previous video, but in case you missed it. So I would bake ahead of time, let the cakes cool completely, wrap them at least twice in cling wrap, plastic wrap. It's important that you do that because when you remove the cakes from the freezer, they have to get to room temperature. So it's important to leave the plastic wrap because condensation happens and you don't want that moisture to be absorbed into your cake and your cake gets soggy and it may spoil. So leave the plastic wrap, very important, so that the sweating will happen outside on the plastic wrap and not on your cake. The person also asks if it affects the cupcake mold. I'm guessing you mean the shape of my cupcake. If it's affected, no, because I place it on a cooling rack and wrap it so that the cooling rack keeps it in place. They don't get squeezed in the freezer. that should answer the question. Yes, I freeze cakes, but I research how it's done, and it's a great way to help manage your time if you have a lot of orders. The next question, what's the estimated cost of all your basic tools and equipment needed to start a cake business? And this is a really good question. Let me see how I can make the answer as short as possible. So basically, how I was able to start this business, I did it part-time when I did other jobs. And that's another question you guys asked about my career before doing cakes, but I'll get to that. So before I started doing cakes full time, I was selling at Simon's St. Andrews. Some of you may remember me there. I used to sell like juice and sandwiches, homemade pastries, and that's actually how I was able to start this business full time, because while I was doing that job, I saved. And to give you a ballpoint figure as to how much I had to save before I can do this, it was approximately $10,000. And this money, I divided it into buying supplies as well as doing different courses. As I mentioned in previous videos, whenever I would travel, I would volunteer in bakeries, and I also did courses once they were available. So I would go on the internet, and if I saw something was available near the location where I stayed, I would take advantage of that class. Come. So there were a number of classes available, and I signed up for them. Look. As well as I purchased all of the equipment I need. I did a lot of research on the types of tools that you would need to run a cake business, and I started buying them. So $10,000 was enough for me to do classes and buy tools. Mind you, this does not include the heavy equipment such as the big cake mixer I have or my oven and these sort of things. It was just enough for like the basic tools you need. So if you want to buy a small KitchenAid mixer, a couple cake pans, the main tools that you need to decorate a cake, that was more than enough money, as well as I was able to do classes. So that's just a ballpark figure as to how much money you need. As I said, it doesn't have to be that much, but that's what I was able to save to do classes and buy the main equipment I needed to be able to do this full time. Hi, Google. Are you helping me? How long does fondant last? Fondant, well, I believe the ready-made ones last longer than the homemade ones. So you can do your research on Google. Marshmallow fondant lasts about 4 months approximately, and it has to be stored in a cool, dry area. So I usually store mine in this cooler. He helps me pack them in the cooler. He likes beating the drum, making a sound. So I store mine in here. So this is a cool, dry area, sealed away from bugs. This is my fondant. And it lasts approximately 4 months. I don't store it in the refrigerator. That's another question I get asked a lot. Do I refrigerate my fondant? Oh, let's put it back up. No, I don't. Because of the same reason with condensation and moisture. Fondant doesn't do well. You want me to open it? Fondant doesn't do well with humidity and moisture. So I don't refrigerate my fondant. Cool, dry area, sealed with plastic wrap, and that's enough. And it lasts approximately 4 months. I guess he's gonna unpack the icing sugar from the cooler. Anything to keep you entertained so I can get through this video. Did you study then jumped right into your career, or were you previously employed? First of all, I didn't study cake decorating. I am generally just really talented with my hands. anything to do with making stuff, organizing spaces. I'm just creative and blessed in that avenue. I didn't study it. However, I always like to develop my skill. So that's why I did courses along the way. I look at a lot of YouTube videos. Information is out there. We just have to take advantage of it and practice, practice, practice. I studied building technology in TAMCC because I wanted to do interior architecture, and as I like to say, I'm still doing architecture but on cakes because I'm working with colors, textures, shapes, patterns. When I finished building technology in TAMCC, I job trained and worked at a plumbing company for about a year, and then the call center in Grenada. Those of you local to me, I didn't enjoy the job, and a lot of you may be able to relate to it, whereas there are a lot of you who love working customer service in the call centers. But as soon as I made a year there, I resigned and started looking for other jobs. Mind you, during this time I worked part-time selling juice and sandwiches and snacks and so, and decided to do it full on. I did it full on for some years, was able to save the money and start cake decorating full time. How I got started with doing cakes, I'm not sure I share that story. I used to sell little cupcakes while working at the call center, sell little cupcakes to my friends and coworkers, and while doing the sandwiches and the juices, I introduced cakes as well, and it was box cake because I knew nothing about making cake. While selling the cupcakes and the cake slices, a chef approached me and he asked me what flavor cake it was, and I told him it was box cake because I couldn't bake. And he was so nice to give me one of his cake recipes. And from that day, guys, I never baked a box cake again. I researched different recipes, I tried them, and over a period of time, I mastered about 5 recipes that I liked: red velvet, chocolate, cherry, fruit, what did I miss? And vanilla. And I stick to that because I find that when you try to do too much, you encounter problems. And even mastering the 5, sometimes there are still errors, but that's life. You know, you make mistakes, you learn from them. So I'm grateful to him for sharing with me his recipe so that I was able to have this career today in baking cakes. And with my creativity, I was able to add little designs to the cupcakes that I would sell, and it just evolved. More and more people were asking me to do cakes, and I had to take some time to myself and get my pricing right, you know, turn this into a profitable business. And here I am today. Were you previously employed? So yes, I did work at a plumbing company for a while and the call center, and that's it. I don't like working jobs. I prefer to be self-employed. He's going in on this ice and sugar. It's closed, so he can't get to it. I like self-employment. I like the flexibility of it. I can work today and decide, you know what, I'm going to the beach tomorrow. I get to choose what jobs I'm able to do and spend time with my family. Very important to me, family time. So I love what I do, and I always encourage you guys to live your dreams the same way. And you know, because at the end of the day, it's your life. You have to live it, and you want to look back and say, I lived the life I wanted. It wasn't on anybody else's terms. You know, you did what you wanted to do. You helped people along the way, and that's very important to me as well. As much as I can help you in any way, I like to do that. How many cakes do you schedule to make on the same day? It goes back to planning and organizing. Back in the day, I would do so much cakes and be overwhelmed. I deal with anxiety, in case you didn't know. I have really bad anxiety, and I think it got worse now that I'm a mom. There's so much to worry about. I don't know if you guys can relate to that. But for example, I don't like seeing the clock. I would put it out of my view. In case you're wondering, it's now 8:45 in the morning, a.m. I would put it out from my view At my past location, those of you who knew me when I was in paddock, I would have the clock turned down, and whenever my uncle would come across to visit, because he didn't live far from me, he lives close to me, he always puts up the clock and asks the time, and I'm like, hello, I don't want to know the time. Anyways, that's another topic. If you guys are interested in a video of me talking about my anxiety and how I'm able to deal with it, that maybe you might suffer with anxiety as well, and just let me know and I'll create that video. A lot of you probably don't know this about me, but yeah. So I plan ahead of time. I always ask you guys to schedule your cake orders 2 weeks in advance. Let me make sure this thing is recording. Right. I have to make sure it's recording because I can't see the screen and I would hate to do all of this and it's not recorded and I have to do it again. How is it going? The thing about kids, they have so much toys and they don't want to play with their toys, they want to play with everything else. So why buy toys? They play with everything else except for what they should be playing with. I plan 2 weeks in advance, and once I schedule for that week, that's it. I close shop. No more orders. Sorry, I'm not available. Because what happens is I get stressed out, overwhelmed, I don't perform well, I'm not able to take care of my family the way that I should, take care of myself. It's just a stressful time. I used to do that and I don't do that anymore. I'm trying to work smarter, not harder. And that's the purpose, that's the ultimate goal when you have a business. Over time, you need to work smarter and not harder and be able to survive financially. So I can schedule at least 2-3 orders a day. As I said, once I plan everything, advance my decorations, I'll be fine. Don't call me today for a cake tomorrow. I won't be available. It's not realistic. It can't happen. Right, and the next question was by the same person. Let me grab my water. Let me have some water. Refreshing. Like a boss. My mom gave me that bottle, that water bottle. Bye. You gone? You stuck. Close the sliding door. Where are you going? He escaped. How do you manage having time for your baby? I have to multitask a lot. Yes, so I have to multitask a lot. Keep him entertained while I get work done. If he's asleep, that's another way I get a lot of work done. So that's why I would do most of my jobs at night. He's asleep, I get stuff done. It's not the easiest, but I try to make it work, manage my time as best as I could, make time for him as well, and put work aside, put the phones aside, put the camera aside, like just time with him and I playing and laughing and reading. He likes to read, he picks up his book and he turns, he puts it down, he picks it up again. He's so cute. Yeah, it's just managing your time well, making time for work, making time for family, and enjoying the process. Because as I said, you don't want to look back and you didn't enjoy, and time goes by so quickly. Do I make energy drinks? I know a lot of people drink coffee. I'm not a fan of it. I like the taste, so sometimes I drink coffee, but not like every day. I like teas. I think I shared with you in a previous video the type of teas that I like. So I drink teas, but I wouldn't necessarily say I drink it for energy. I like smoothies as well. I just try to be hydrated and eat healthy. I don't drink energy drinks to stay on the go. No, if I'm tired, I rest. I take a break and I rest. What would you do if a distressed customer came into your place requesting a complex cake for a wedding or a party the next day? that's a no-no. Sorry, I'm not available. Simple as that. We sometimes take jobs last minute, and those are the jobs that stress us out the most. Things go wrong and you're like, why did I take this job? And sometimes the customer doesn't even know what you have to go through to complete the cake, because you don't want to burden your customers with your problems. That's not their business. I don't take those jobs. Weddings have to be booked months ahead of time because there is more planning that goes into it than a birthday cake. So months ahead of time. If for some reason I'm going through a slow period and you request a cake a couple days before and I can fit you in, there are cases where I do that. So you can still ask me if I'm available. But for the most part, no today for today, no today for tomorrow, sometimes not even the same week. No, I'm not available. It's not in a bad way, it's just I'm booked, and it may not necessarily mean I'm booked doing a cake, but I'm booked with life, because we have life outside of the kitchen. We have to take care of ourselves. We have activities that we do for ourselves. So being booked doesn't mean that I'm in the kitchen. You might see me in town, you might see me on the beach, but I need to make time to do those things as well, right? So if I'm not available, I apologize for the inconvenience. Encourage the customers to book ahead of time in the future so I can be able to accommodate you. What does an order look like from start to finish? I try my best to show you guys in the videos. So there is still a lot that I don't include, but basically from start to finish an order. Okay, so the customer messages me on WhatsApp. That's where I take most of my orders. Guys, it's raining. It's raining. So I take most of my orders on WhatsApp. So you would message me. I have a set of questions that I would ask you. If you missed my how to place a cake order video, you can go check it out. It's on my page. I'll have it linked below as well. So these questions I would ask you and you respond. That would allow me to prepare a quotation. The quotation includes a sketch of the cake that I'll be preparing for you. It includes the flavor, the size, very detailed. I like to ask that set of questions and prefer that you respond to it before we move on, because, for example, could you imagine I do a quotation and then you let me know the dates for, and then I have to say, oh, sorry, I'm not available. So I would have taken my time and prepared this quotation for you, only to find out I'm not available. So it's important that you answer the questions that I ask. People sometimes find it's a lot of questions, but it's necessary for me to prepare the cake for you. Because what tends to happen is you ask one question, I answer, you ask another question, and over time, the back and forth, you're asking me more questions or sometimes very redundant questions. Whereas if you just stick to those that I ask, then you're able to get your quotation, move on from there. Once you get an idea of the cost, the next step would be to confirm your order. I don't do any work on cakes without getting confirmation. And confirmation doesn't mean, yes, I will go through with the order. No. Because what happens, sometimes people have change of plans at the last minute, and I like to advance my work to be able to accommodate customers. So imagine I made my 10 roses for this cake and then you message me, sorry, my child's godmother got a cake somewhere else, so I wouldn't be needing your services anymore. Then what? I have these roses that I invested in. Who pays for it? Right? So you have to confirm with payments so that I get compensated for the work that I did. There is a whole list of reasons why paying is important. It's not that we don't trust you. We trust you, especially those loyal customers, but things happen along the way, and that's like a way to safeguard ourselves. So confirm your order. The next, I would have to buy the material. Another reason why you have to pay, because I have to buy the material to be able to fulfill the order. So inventory, stock up on supplies. I advance decorations, then I bake the cake, store it until I'm ready to decorate it. I have to make fondant and frosting. Make fondant and frosting, advance the decorations, bake the cake. Well, weigh the ingredients, bake the cake. I'm trying not to miss out a step, but realistically there is a lot of steps in between. I forgot to mention, the reason I do sketches is to protect myself, because I've encountered a lot of problems along the way with customers saying, this is not what we agreed on, this is the wrong color, this is the wrong shape, this is the wrong brand, this is the wrong whatever it is. Whereas when I sketch, we go back to the sketch and say, no, this is what we agreed on. So that's another way you can avoid situations like that, by doing sketches. Nothing fancy, just something explaining what the cake is going to look like. And also I do sketches because I don't replicate other cake designs. I like to create my own. That's why I do sketches. So the pictures you send me, I use it as inspiration to create a design for your cake. So the cake is baked. When I'm ready to decorate, I crumb coat, frost, cover in fondant, decorate, package, deliver if it has to be delivered, or the customer would come and collect. If I have to go set it up, I set it up at the venue. I rent some of the equipment, so if you rent cake stands and so, it has to be returned in a 7-day period. Yeah, that's the short of how cakes get done from start to finish, but there is a lot of in-between processes. What does a typical baking day look like from start to finish? A typical baking day. I have one coming up soon because I have an upcoming wedding that I'm preparing for. So what I would do is weigh the ingredients. I may do that the night before or the same day if I have time, but it's more convenient for me to do it the night before. So I would weigh the ingredients, take them out the morning to get to room temperature. Once it's at room temperature, I mix the cake, I prepare my cake pans, preheat my oven, weigh out the batter in the pan because I want the layers to be the same thickness, so I use a scale. Bake the cakes. While the cakes are baking, I'm doing the dishes. When they're finished baking, I place them to cool. Once they're cooled, wrap them, freeze. That's basically, long story short, how a baking day is for me. And that's if I'm baking cake, because different products require different processes. This person says, I am no chef, but I love baking cakes. However, I find that it always comes out dry. What am I doing wrong? Number one question, are you using real butter? And I know a lot of us, because I was guilty for it, but at this point I have learned that nothing beats real butter. And unfortunately, the only brand of butter we have in Grenada, if you're local to me, is Anchor butter. Everything else is margarine. Margarine does not give the same quality as real butter. Real butter is expensive. That's the downside. It's expensive. All you have to do is adjust your prices to suit. Don't work at a loss. Adjust your pricing to facilitate that additional cost for butter, so that you make what your work is valued for. So I use butter. I don't use margarine in my cakes. I use butter 100%. At one point I used to do half and half butter, half margarine. I use full-on butter right now. It's costly, but I charge for it when I do my quotations. So that's my number one question to you. Are you using real butter? If no, that could be why your cakes are coming out dry. Another thing is to follow the recipes very precisely. You don't want to be guessing the weight and doing as you please. Follow the recipes. Quantities are there for a reason, and you have to have the right tools to weigh everything out precisely to get good results. If it says 2 eggs, do your 2 eggs. If it says a cup of milk, measure a cup of milk. Don't do 3/4 cup. Okay? Milk helps with moisture, eggs help with moisture, butter, these things help with moisture. Use quality ingredients, use the right measurements, follow the right method when you're mixing your cakes. That's important as well. Make sure you cream your butter and your sugar properly before moving on to the other steps. Maybe it's the temperature of your oven, maybe it's too high so it's drying out your cake. Something I used to do before I had my convection oven. Hi, the bathroom is open. Come, let's go. Let's go. Where pants? Your pants missing. Hi. Come. So that was the last question. Let me just answer it and end this video. Something I used to do before I had my convection oven, the oven I used was a bit too hot. It was an older oven and it was a bit too hot. There wasn't a thermometer to gauge what temperature it was. So I would fill a pan with water and place it at the bottom of the oven, and that steam would add moisture. I think they call it a hot water bath or something like that. The steam would create extra moisture and the cakes would come out moist. So that's something you can probably try. If your oven is baking, the temperature is too hot, that would help keep your cakes moist. So that's it for the questions. Thank you guys so much for participating. If you have anything else that you would like to know, whether it's about motherhood, time management, being a cake decorator, being self-employed, anything, ask me in the comment section. You can message me on my Instagram or Facebook. Clap, 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 clap. My WhatsApp, all my details are listed below. Hope you found this video helpful, informative. As usual, I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for all of your support, your feedback, liking this video, subscribing to my channel, and remember, live your dreams. Say live your dreams, and create the life that you want for yourself. Until next time, bye guys. Say bye. Say bye. Bye. Hello. See you in the next video. So I'm gonna go spend some time with him. See you guys in the next video.